Not so long ago, in a galaxy not too far away, the Milky Way galaxy, this galaxy, on the planet Earth. The year is 1944, 14th May. There's a disturbance in the force. A George Walton Lucas Jr. is born. Who could fathom what spark lay on the horizon? That out of someone so small, that spark would ignite and open up to a galaxy of worlds, to the outer rim and beyond, and a massive fandom that brings worlds together and a shared love of his imagination. Get those pod racers fired up.
I'm Kennedy Rizzo.
And I'm Cooper Lee. And this week's topic is George Lucas.
Hey there, Star Wars fans. It's that time of year again.
Oh, and are we so ready, Kennard?
Yes!
Not that we, the fans, don't take any and every moment to consume something Star Wars related year round, though.
Year in and year out.
That's sadly no exaggeration.
But there's specific moments throughout the spring, beginning in April through May, that our calendars say, don't schedule anything else but Star Wars. That's an order.
Exactly. That is exactly what we're talking about. And that being said, we're definitely getting into our much beloved topic this week. But before we do that, Orchard Archivers, take a moment to hit that subscribe button and visit us on YouTube, the Gram, X, and TikTok. Also, check out our official website, RetroTrekwithTheCaramelApples.com, to see all the latest and greatest updates going down in the Retro Orchard. Kennage, this episode has been a long time coming.
Oh, yes, I agree. George Lucas. We'll drop the Walton and the Junior at this point because he truly needs no introduction.
That's just facts right there. Wow. Just saying George Lucas. There's a wave of excitement that washes over the true Star Wars fans. And that can't be overstated.
Yes, facts.
It is. And, people the world over have just embraced the galaxy far, far away for literally 48 years and counting. Just think in 2 years, it'll be the 50th anniversary of Star Wars.
That's right. May 25th, 1977. Not to put too fine a point on it.
Yeah.
Star Wars donned the silver screen for the first time to an audience just seated with freshly popped popcorn. And an icy Coca-Cola in hand. Wide-eyed with anticipation for a journey deep into space.
So to be sure, not the first space-themed movie, but unbeknownst to the movie-going public, this wasn't just any movie. These people became a part of living history. For the first time ever, Star Wars fans will exist.
Oh my God, what a memory, huh?
Oh yeah, crazy cool.
And also what an extremely exciting time for a nostalgic look back, as we always do on our podcast. You know, it's about these moments. We, Gen Xers, just lived another day in the life and just did stuff, not realizing history was actually being made.
Oh, it is so true, Kenage. You know, for all our nostalgia-loving archivers, we know you probably already caught our Star Wars series we featured right here on our podcast. But for our new fans, feel free to check out our deep dive into the original trilogy and the beloved characters therein. We'll probably link a couple in the show notes, right, Kenage?
100%. That's right. We make it easy for you guys to trek with us. So glad you came back for more, because we're just getting started on this iconic pop culture phenomena, for which we owe George Lucas so much gratitude, because our entertainment meters have gone into hyperdrive with this masterpiece.
Oh, God. So we mentioned that at nearly 33 years old, George's Star Wars opened to a strong box office, despite some trouble with production. We'll get into that in a bit.
Always trouble.
There really is, right?
Oh, yeah.
That makes the outcome even sweeter, though, I guess.
Yeah, phew.
Find that silver lining.
That's right.
We definitely wonder what are the deets on how we arrive at May 25th, 1977. Well, the sheer fact is this. At this time, Mr. Lucas was just getting started.
And why do we say that? Besides the obvious. This American Film Institute Life Achievement Award winner, 4 Academy Award nominee, the Science Fiction Hall of Fame inductee, Disney legend, has many honors to his name.
Maybe one of the most beloved for him is this little fun fact. Himself as a Stormtrooper action figure released as a part of Hasbro's Star Wars The Black Series line.
And as you can hear, we're already getting ticks and dings because of our topic. This is awesome.
We're loving it.
Truly a highlight for many a young dreamer. No doubt this spoke to the kid within, who probably still can't believe this has happened. That would be pretty jaw-dropping.
I know, right? Yeah, you could look at yourself and you're like, I am immortalized in this figure. This is crazy.
Yeah, like who wouldn't want an action figure of themselves? That's rotten sauce.
It is. As we stated in our intro, George Lucas was born May 14th, 1944, to George Walton Sr. and Dorothy Eleanor Lucas of Modesto, California. He, one of 4 children, and the only boy in the lot. As we may think, naturally, he was born so close to Hollywood, of course, he's gonna get into the film and entertainment. But a quick glance at geography, we see just because you're born in California doesn't mean everything is super close by.
That's true. It's very vast out there.
Oh yeah. California, after all, is the 3rd largest state. And Disney itself was almost 400 miles away from them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's a little bit over a 5-hour drive for the Lucas family. But they did make the trip in July of 1955. And little 11-year-old George Lucas was touched to the core, no pun intended, by the enigma of the park. Stay tuned for more on Disney.
But he's not a daydreaming filmmaker just yet. As he gets older, he got racing on his mind.
Oh boy. Could it perhaps be a glimpse into pod racing or maybe a speeder?
One would wonder.
Oh, yeah.
Coop, we're always ready to just put the pieces together of how someone becomes the genius that they are. I mean, you're born, you dabble with a camera at 3 years old, and poof. Family members are saying, we always knew he would be a director.
Yeah, right? But what's interesting is he did have an eye for capturing moments. People would definitely notice once he was in film school.
Okay.
Fast forward to 18-year-old George, fiercely defending his hopes and dreams of becoming a millionaire by 30, and not through the family business of stationery.
Although having an endless supply of paper to jot his Star Wars notes down would not be a bad thing.
Yeah, because back then there was no such thing. They didn't even have Palm Pilots, right? So,
Oh my God. We had to rough it back in the day, you know.
that's right. Pen and paper.
With paper, with pencils and pens. And Malkles.
We're still not there yet.
Very true. As stated, he had a dream of being a race car driver, and that love almost led to a dramatic ending for old George.
Scary.
Yeah, that is. That's high stakes kind of adrenaline rush, fun chasing there. I mean,
yeah.
What, thrill sports? Yeah, that's what it was. Thrill sports, but whatever.
Literally taking your life in your hands. Yep.
That's right, George. But fortunately, he survived that horrific accident, and once he gathered himself, his enthusiasm for being in the driver's seat of racing had run its course. That might do something to you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, much to the elation of his parents, to be sure. They're probably like, now, George!
Get back in the stationery store now!
That's right. We'll even get you new Malkles.
Oh, boy. So it's crazy how once he cooled his jets, the trajectory of his career really focused in on the natural eye he had for motion pictures. So I think racing, fast-paced things like that really seem to be in the DNA of males in particular. Yeah. Women like to go fast too, but I think men are just kind of really drawn to that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I agree. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's good that he did finally slow down that way. Then he was able to focus on what he was really gonna blossom into, right? Like this was his niche he's getting into.
Yeah.
And I guess we could say he slowed down to take pictures.
Yeah.
Which was discovered at USC while filming. Guess what? Of all things, racing.
Oh my gosh. Ba-dum-dum.
Yeah, he's still kind of looking at it. So, fun fact. George Lucas met and became close friends with Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese, to name a few, not so known directors, producers at that time while attending university.
Oh, that's cool.
It is cool. And he himself was part of the Dirty Dozen of campus fame. They were just young men honing their skills, and of course, one thing led to another. He graduated with a degree in the fine arts in 1967. Just think, 10 short years to opening night of Star Wars.
Uh-oh, the fan apple and Coop is going nuts.
So cool. I love it.
She's like, it's happening. So before any opening night, one must begin the writing process. Let's quadri-jump to the early 70s, 1973 to be exact.
Okay.
Good year. People were enjoying walkie-talkies, stovetop stuffing, and tab. Oh boy, that's nostalgic.
Yeah.
Can you believe Oreos were 59 cents?
Good night. What?
That's right. Like our brains can't even fathom that. Now with $8 a package.
Yeah, they'll charge you 59 cents to walk past them.
Yeah. Oh wait, that's eggs.
You're right.
Then we had the movie American Graffiti. It was just released to the movie-going public.
Oh, wow. So here, a couple interesting things about that movie. Fun fact, it was set in Modesto, California.
Oh.
And was directed by George. And he also had a hand in writing the screenplay alongside Willard Huyck and Gloria Katz. Well, it starred several heavy hitters, that being, see if you recognize any of these names, Orchard Archivers, Ron Howard, Richard Dreyfuss, Cindy Williams of Laverne and Shirley fame.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And it was produced by Francis Ford Coppola.
Another big name.
Yeah. And he's not the only Ford in this car-loving enthusiast dream. Harrison Ford was also our very own Solo, starred in this movie.
That's right. Like you said, those pieces are coming together.
Yep.
Coop, it's always sweet to connect dots you maybe didn't know are there. So, with American Graffiti in the rearview mirror, Lucas is able to focus his attention on writing a 13-page treatment called The Star Wars, and which included Sith, Death Star, and a main character named Anakin Starkiller. It's coming together!
Yes! So his first draft turned out to be too long. So he turned his first act into a film all its own.
You know, sometimes it's easy to get a bit wordy. We know all about that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But when there's a story to tell it.
Mm-hmm.
We're all for a long movie if the story is good and the characters have meaning.
Yeah. Like, we'll take prequels and sequels all day long if the story has continuity.
Mm-hmm.
You can always tell when the writing was already a thought compared to a story that maybe had an unexpected huge box office draw. Then the powers that be want to cash in again on that title.
Oh, yeah.
It's happened a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And can honestly think of a few right now.
Oh, yeah.
But that is clearly not what happened with the original 6 Star Wars movies, which to this day have George's stamp of approval all over them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it just flows and connects like a puzzle. It also has been said that he wrote the treatments for all 9 movies, which would have included episodes 7 through 9, but he didn't write those last 3 scripts. So I don't know what's the difference between a treatment and a script, but, you know, maybe it's just the concept. Who knows? But he no longer owned Star Wars by the time that they were rolled out. So, you know, they don't quite feel like George. Just being honest.
And you can tell. Yes, that's right. You can tell.
Yeah.
So we earlier mentioned that the main character's name is Anakin Starkiller. Oops. Starkiller. Well, obviously that changes to Luke Skywalker. No worries, the real Anakin will reveal itself soon enough. But let's for a second just mention the obvious change to Skywalker. George felt the original name seemed too dark, with negative connotations, due to the recent headlines of the day. It just didn't flow well with the character development of Luke, who was a benevolent character.
So, truth be told, not sure if you're like me. We've never talked about it, but I know as a kid seeing Star Wars, Luke always seemed like the main guy, right? He seemed like the main star of everything. And the one to bring quote unquote balance to the Force. I thought that's who they were talking about.
Okay.
But like, We saw Darth, we saw the characters play out. We heard him declare his legacy to Luke and also heard the name Anakin in the movie, but just didn't think much beyond that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
When you're pretty young, you're certainly not looking for layers in a movie. You just pretty much watch what's on screen.
That was me.
Right. Me too.
Guilty as charged.
Right. We're just being honest, everyone.
Very honest.
It's okay. So it was interesting to see that the name Anakin became the main character once again, once the prequels came out and came together. By that time, we were old enough to know the story and anticipate the development of the character of Anakin.
Well, I can see your point of view. I like your perspective on that, Coop. I'm still developing my thoughts on that since I was a latecomer with that.
Fair enough.
Let's not forget that George introduced the story with episode 4.
So true. We literally didn't even know anything about Luke, let alone Anakin.
Right. We're moving through this story from teenager Luke's vantage point, straight away introduced to Darth Vader minutes into A New Hope.
Yep.
As we stated before in our Star Wars Part 1 episode, it seems that Lucas wanted to open up and introduce an array of characters from the very beginning.
Which completely makes sense. It's all new. There's no expectations. Nobody knows anything until you lead them there.
That's right.
He had the whole story in his head. Eventually, he'd script it all out. George is a genius in storytelling.
Hashtag facts.
Yeah. So according to Wikipedia, the name Anakin has his return as the one to bring balance to the Force within the prequels. Lucas began writing in October of 1994 and took a sabbatical from all the filmmaking side of things November 1st of that year to deep dive into space.
That's a good date.
Yeah.
This too goes without being said, but we'll say it anyway. There's tons of books out there, and we know that any given movie is made off literary gems.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of cool stories, just a lot of cool stories out there.
Yeah.
But that's not the case with Star Wars. It's so unique.
That's right. George didn't go in through the library to the fiction section for his story. Nor did someone else bring said book to his attention. This is really cool because from his ideas, books came into existence.
Right.
It's crazy. There's tons of books, comics, etc. that are full of lore and legends based off of his early mornings turned into 8-hour days of writing back in the 70s.
You know what? Just you saying that, you can tell that that's a mark of a true genius. I love it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, they just dive and focus on their interests. I love that.
Yeah, it's like full steam ahead.
Yeah, 100%. So through and through this story, it belongs to him.
Mm-hmm.
Who could even question it? I mean, his love of entertainment, of the likes of Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers. That's another 70s nostalgic gem there. This really engaged George's imagination for heroes in space. Perhaps he didn't even realize just how much.
Yeah, we're shaped by experiences we encounter along the way. And now, so many the world over get to experience the imagination of George's personal influences as a kid. It's just monumental, right?
Oh, 100% yes.
And Star Wars became a cosmic event, and Lucas had an idea of just what he was looking for. And with that, kind of wonder if Lucas had Harrison in mind for one of his new characters, since working with him on American Graffiti. Yeah, Harrison actually read lines for Luke Skywalker. But Ford ultimately won the role as Han Solo.
That was a close one.
And history was made.
Yep. So it's cool that George had a desire to cast unknown actors for the leads in Star Wars. Mark Hamill as Luke, Carrie Fisher as Leia. Same with Jake Lloyd, young Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
Hayden Christensen as mature Anakin. Oh my. That was for you, Hayden. All right.
Composure, huh?
Yeah, get back with it, Kennedy. Come on now. I'm seeing double. And Natalie Portman is Padme.
Oh, the Collect Six are a cinematic gem.
Oh, certainly is. And it can't be overstated that audiences responded to George's vision.
Mm-hmm.
Film critic Robert Ebert, another nostalgic name there in movies and film.
Absolutely.
He likened it to an out-of-body experience.
Wow.
That's just talking about the New Hope.
Wow. Obviously, because film critics, let's just say, they have their opinion and they love to tell everybody. So that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
So it has sent the career of everyone involved out of this world to the outer rim, if you will. When we say history was made, that's no exaggeration. It changed how motion pictures were made, and it created a new genre of movies, sci-fi. Yes, please, we'll take a double scoop.
That's right, and make sure it's caramel, apple, and nuts in that. Take a sugar cone on a sugar cone or waffle cone.
Oh, that sounds delightful.
Yes, it does. And with that, each and every Star Wars movie after that reached greater and greater heights.
Exactly. Now let's double back for a moment on the set of A New Hope. We mentioned some slight production issues. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so just imagine how thrilled Lucas had to be with elation of the newfound fandom. Because truth be told, many in the cast and crew didn't have a clue of what this movie's potential would be. And that's how it is in the early stages of anything great.
Truly, yeah.
From enduring terrible weather on set location to hiccups in his newly formed visual effects company, ILM, trying to figure out how to bring things to life on a tight shoestring budget of $11 million. Oh yeah, that's pocket change.
Yes.
So, yeah, right? But some really didn't take it seriously. Some even thought it may be bad for careers. So this might have caused some issues on set.
Yeah. And then, of course, the studio. They're always around. They wanted the film to wrap so they could make some dollars.
Right.
So poor George just kept grinding it out, and to the delight and surprise of everyone, box office tipped the scales in George's favor at a whopping $775 million US dollars. Oh, yeah, there's some pocket change. Looks like Star Wars paid in dividends.
Oh, yes. So, of course, the studio is like, hey, old buddy, old pal, to George at this point. Funny how they changed their tune.
Typical.
Yeah. Perfect timing, too, because the budget pretty much doubled for Empire Strikes Back, $32 to $33 million.
Ah.
Yeah. And Return of the Jedi right in that ballpark as well.
So no one's laughing anymore, you're saying, huh?
That's how it is. They don't ever want to take a gamble on anything.
Exactly. But there might be someone who's laughing. George Lucas all the way to the bank. Yay!
He earned that too.
He did. You have a good chuckle.
That's right. Chuckle away, George.
1980 and 83, while Star Wars fans were delighting in a double portion of Star Wars with Episode 5 and 6, also a re-release of A New Hope, Lucas's personal life had some highs and lows.
That's right. Cameras kept rolling, but there's no pause button for actual life events. Happy or sad, they kept happening. So Lucas and his wife, Marcia Lou Griffin, of 12 years, adopt their first daughter, Amanda, in 1981, only to divorce in 1983.
That's right. His life was a whirlwind of sorts from graduation on. So a peek backstage we see in 1971, Lucasfilms is created. Yes.
The fan's coming out, kids. We can't put it back in the box.
Did not now. Too late. So that was in 1971. George wanted to keep creative control separate from Hollywood, which leads to his founding of Industrial Light and Magic in 1975 for the special effects of his new sci-fi movies.
Great.
Fun fact, ILM has worked on many, many blockbuster movies, many of which we know and love. It's reached its own legendary status the world over. And in 1983, he founded THX for audiences to get the full effect of Return of the Jedi in theaters. TH stands for Tomlinson and Holman, who developed it and worked at Lucasfilm. And X stands for crossover or experiment.
That's cool.
Yeah, so the THX certified theaters promise the ultimate in sound quality for the viewers. Fun fact, THX also pays homage to Lucas's first film, THX 1138.
Good grief. That's pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, from 1967 to 1983, he graduated, married, started writing, directing, producing films, created companies to provide the best fan experience with these films, became a first-time father, and goes down into infamy.
Yeah.
Boy, that's tired just talking about that. What?
I know, that was a list. And it's not like small time any of it. Like, all of it was major.
That's right.
George Lucas certainly set the bar high for anyone else to come along. All in all, he's a likable guy. And sometimes that gets lost with more and more clout and responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
It just boils down to the fact that he takes his craft seriously and he wanted people to thoroughly enjoy his movie offerings.
Oh, I miss when people put their all in their heart and soul and stuff. This is what we miss.
Yes, yes.
Quick mention though. We made mention of the directors who helmed Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi in our Star Wars episode. But George was not far from his creations. He worked closely as executive producer alongside Kirshner and Marquand. He shared story credit and screenwriting credit for these movies as well. But of course, George returns to the director's chair for all three prequels.
Yes, he stayed a busy man.
Oh, yeah.
Working alongside his good buddy Spielberg for the first 4 Indiana Jones movies. As story writer and executive producer, that is another awesome, awesome franchise.
That calls for an applause.
It does. I don't think he took a year off throughout the 80s, and he became a father to 2 more children, another daughter, Katie, in 88, and a son, Jet, in 1993.
Okay.
Fun fact, he was also romantically linked to Linda Ronstadt for a time in the 80s.
Are you kidding?
I kind of remember that.
I don't. That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
Man, out of all the hats he wears, fatherhood certainly seems to be the one he enjoyed the most.
That's cool.
That's pretty endearing.
Yeah. It seems to be so because he also will become a father a fourth time.
Okay.
Yeah, to another little girl he shared with his now current wife since 2013, that being Melody Hobson. That's mommy.
Okay, that's pretty cool, man. Okay, 2013, that's pretty recent.
Yeah.
So we've shared bits and pieces of George Lucas's life and passions. All in all, he stayed extremely busy within the film world for decades.
Yeah, even adding some quality family time when he had his three oldest children and himself share a screen in Star Wars. That's so cool.
It is cool. So we actually can say he's an actor too.
Mhm.
As we mentioned, the prequels, episodes 1 through 3, released to the public in the late 90s. So many of us who grew up knowing about the sheer excitement of opening nights for A New Hope, Empire, and Return, we finally got our own turn in the seat for Star Wars first timers.
That's right. And we did not take that for granted. And the opening nights did not disappoint,
That's
as you
right.
can only imagine.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Fun fact, this was the first movies we actually were old enough to know the value of being a part of history and had the desire to be present for opening nights for Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
We had been part of the collective of George Lucas's Star Wars, but now it was our very own legacy.
Yes.
Yeah. So it became the group, the four of us. It was Kennedy, myself, and our little bro, and his friend at the time, his best friend. He was like a little brother to us as well. And it just became the four of us that would go. And anytime an installment would come out, it just became our tradition, which was
Yep.
really, really cool.
Yes.
So, yeah, we have our own memories encased all around opening nights of Star Wars. It's so, so cool.
That's right. We went and saw it at the best IMAX theater we have here in our area. It was amazing.
Exactly. And it's crazy because, yes, we can keep in contact with each other, but we don't all live nearby each
Not
other.
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like here, that's something that will just always exist. So totally, totally cool.
It is.
So Phantom Menace was May of 1999. Attack of the Clones was May 16th, 2002. And Revenge of the Sith was May 19th, 2005. Will never happen again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sheer thrill and elation. We wanted more.
That is movie history right there.
It is.
So, like for our original 3, that would never be duplicated, same here for episodes 1 through 3. Opening night will never happen again.
Yeah.
Same goes for Disney 3.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, with the mention of Disney, it's really crazy how it literally went full circle with George and Disney.
He could remember going as an 11-year-old kid. Fast forward to the Walt Disney Company announcing their interest in acquiring Lucasfilm on October 30th, 2012. Months and months of negotiations till this deal was struck, and that was on December 21st, 2012.
You know, Kennard, I can remember hearing about this quote unquote rumor of sorts and thinking, not too sure what that means for Star Wars at this point. I wouldn't say it was an uneasy feeling just yet, but it was more of a, well, if George is still involved, then everything would be okay kind of feeling. Like, if he's still kind of at the helm, maybe not running the show, but if they're getting his input and they want his advice and his opinions on everything, we'll be fine. That was the initial thought.
Yeah. That's very curious.
Mm-hmm.
So once the deal was made and George was not involved, yeah, here
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah. I'm going to use a Disney reference for this Disney acquisition. How the Star Wars fans felt.
Okay.
If you can think back to Beauty and the Beast, when Beast is letting Belle go so she can take care of her father because he loves her and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But just put Star Wars fans in as Cogsworth, and Lucas is the Beast. Okay, so here's Star Wars fans.
Oh, Cooper.
Well, Your Highness, I must say everything is going just swimmingly. I know you had it in you. Lucas, I let it go. Star Wars fans. Yes, splendid. You what? How could you do that? Lucas, I had to. Star Wars fans. Yes, but why? Sorry. Lucas, because it was time. The rest of the Star Wars fans. He did what?
That's classic.
I guess the reasons he gave for the sell, because there was going to be coming up problems with distribution and streaming and things, which is interesting. But streaming was in its infancy at the time. And I guess George, as a great storyteller that he was, he knows when it's time to end scene. He could probably just tell that times were changing, and maybe he's like, I like how I do things, and I don't know if I really want to get in that ballpark now. So
Yeah, and a genius would know that.
yeah, exactly.
But, just didn't see this one coming.
Mm-mm.
We're actually Disney fans in some ways. They really are showing their love and support for the franchise. Like the Forge, Star Wars nights, as we mentioned a few times before. They have rides, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, merch.
Yeah, and also they host a Star Wars celebration, which is coming up April 18th through the 20th.
Ooh, that is coming up quick.
Yes. And this year's is in Makuri Meisei, Japan. Not gonna lie, we looked hardcore at it.
Yeah, that's Coop for you.
Yeah, I really wanted to go. But things just didn't work out this year. But let's say for the 50th anniversary, the caramel apples will make an appearance, especially if it's stateside.
Woo, woo, woo!
Yeah, that will likely be announced at this year's celebration. Also, they had opened a hotel called Star Wars Galaxy Star Cruiser, but seems that couldn't survive. It had such a hefty price tag.
Oh, I bet it did.
Oh, yeah, anything Disney, right? I believe it was about, for two people, it was like $4,800.
Oh my goodness.
And for four people, it was like $6,000.
Is there any air left in the room? Oh my goodness.
People dying of sheer shock. Sticker
shock, big time.
But the latest is that this, because it's not going to stick around, they're going to be changing it into office spaces, I think. So.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, they seem to go out of their way with the attractions, which in a way is really heartwarming.
Yeah.
I wonder how George feels about those things, though.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that some of the last few series have not quite resonated with the fans. I mean, this is what we talk about all the time.
Exactly. It went over like a lead balloon with a lot of the fandom.
Uh-huh.
Most will consume and anticipate anything Star Wars related, like we mentioned. Like, there's just certain times of year round, anytime. If you're a Star Wars fan, you're going to get excited when you hear Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
But when expectations aren't met, over time, people just go back and rewatch what we've known and loved this whole time. The originals.
That's what we do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's George's story. Why wouldn't you just keep watching that? And I've heard that for the newest movie, they may be phoning a friend to get help to come back to it.
Well, they're smart. They might do that and make that phone call. So, yeah, I'm guessing that friend is George Lucas, and it's not a moment too soon.
Right, yeah. Meanwhile, back at Skywalker Ranch, ring, ring, ring. George Lucas is enjoying the fruits of retirement, though. No doubt spending time with his family. Like we mentioned, he has some children and he loves them. He's way more focused on helping people realize the needs of giving to help other people. And that just makes sense because he's been giving in a form of escape for decades.
Right. Mm-hmm.
His movies have just taken on a world of their own, and it's been entertaining, even a lifeline for some. But what a ride.
Oh, yes. What an epic ride.
Mm-hmm.
So, from an epic galaxy laden tale of lightsabers, Sith, Jedi, stormtroopers, one need not want for more. George Lucas has single handedly created words that are just part of an everyday conversation in any language. He's carved out a new genre for sci fi movies to be taken seriously, built a production company alongside visual effects and audio sound to bring to the masses a story he wrote, Star Wars. Cue up the Star Wars theme song.
And that's it for this Orchard Trek Retro. Rest assured, we're just getting started. Come back next week where we will share more retro goodness and our series, Star Wars with a Caramel Twist, Prequels of Destiny. Until then, may the Force be with you.